Hey everybody, my name's Jason. I'm 53 years old and I have prostate cancer, and on this channel we talk about it. I'm doing thoughts while driving. I don't have the fishing video out yet, and I'm sure that's what you're waiting for. So I wanted to talk a little bit about the trip. I'm struggling with the editing of all the stuff, as I'm not a movie maker guy, right? The most complicated video I've edited so far is you seen them, the posts, the vlog posts, my episodes, which is I sit down in front of a camera, record it, edit out all the times I sat there looking stupid, saying and then upload it. So this one, I'm learning a lot. Anyway, the retreat was freaking awesome. If you have not already done so, go to realrecovery.org, REEL recovery.org. Go to the retreats tab and look and see if they have one near you. There's still some left for this year, and then next year's will be coming out. And look next year. They do these all over the world, all over the country, all over the world. If you're in New Zealand, they have one. If you're in the UK, they have one. It was absolutely fantastic. So much more than just showing you how to fly fishing. Was almost a no, never mind. Like, I thought it was going to be a full-blown fly fishing clinic. Here's how to tie this special knot. Here's how to tie this special knot. Here's this type of cast. Here's the type of cast you do in this circumstance. It was none of that. Holy smokes. They really simplified it. It was very much more about the courageous conversations, about community, about us talking with each other, about our getting together and sharing our experiences. And so the timeline was, we showed up, it started at 3 p.m. on Sunday the 11th, and we checked in. We had some time to check in, get our stuff up to our room. They paired us, and this part's going to be different for every retreat. For us, they had little cabins and 2-door rooms, so they paired me off with a guy named Leonard. And so we became roommates. We moved in up there, picked our beds, got our stuff set up, and then we met back down at the lodge. The lodge, fantastic, holy smokes. And I've heard that there's, this is a similar experience across the country, as they've selected locations that are very supportive of doing groups, these retreats. And they do a really good job of putting on everything you need. The food is fantastic. The area is fantastic. The people are really nice. And yeah, so I've heard that's really nice. The facilitator said that one of the best ones was Arkansas. So there you go. If you're in Arkansas or can go to the Arkansas one, holy cow, look at that moon. I wish I had my camera. Anyway, so yeah, we get set up, we go back down to the lodge, and at the lodge, he introduces everybody. They do a round of introductions, and then we get to each introduce ourselves. And they had us introduce ourselves very simply. Our full name is shown on our birth certificate. Well, why is that important, right? You want to know who the person is behind the name that you're used to going by. Some guys go by their middle name. Some, their middle name might be Dylan and they go by Dylan. Their first name might be John or Mark or whatever. But they had us introduce ourselves by the full name on our birth certificate, which is kind of revealing from a You know, I'm exposing, you're exposing a little bit more of yourself than you do normally. It's kind of helps set up the environment for the sharing, which is really, it's a really neat little trick. Not trick, it's a really neat little move. So my full name is shown on my birth certificate. Sparked a little bit of conversation. I was born at Logan Hospital, and my full name is Master Jason Lee Stone. So Master is on my birth certificate, and so we talked about that. But we go back around again, and you introduce yourself. We go back around the circle. There was 10 of us, and you introduce yourself by what name you want to go by and your diagnosis. That's it. What cancer you have and what's your diagnosis. So that's something I was mistaken about. It's not just a prostate cancer retreat. Almost half the guys on the retreat had prostate cancer, and most of the facilitators had prostate cancer, but it's in any cancer, a man with any type of cancer. So we had a guy with testicular cancer, we had a guy with blood cancer, we had a guy with melanoma, and we had different types. So you introduce, okay, I have, my name's Jason, I go by Jason. I have prostate cancer. I'm stage 4. It's metastasized to my spine. And then move on to the next guy, and the next guy, and the next guy. So now you know the person's full name. Now you know what they want to go by, and now you know what they're, at least on the surface, what type of cancer they're dealing with and what their diagnosis is. And that's huge. And that's just the opening, and then they ask us a couple of questions. We go around, we answer some questions. But what I really like that they did, and I'm going to bring this into the support group I'm going to run, is they gave us a question that they were going to ask us at the next Courageous Conversation. They said, and I wish I'd have written down all the questions. They were so good. One of them, one of the later on ones, was, what has your cancer taught you, or what have you learned from your cancer? That was a good one. So you go, and then we do dinner, and then we had a little time to ourselves, time to meet our roommate, time to social hour, effectively mingle with everybody, and then we got to sit back in the circle, and then we took turns answering the questions. So what that does for you is you have more time to put some real thought into it. So the answers you're giving aren't, here's what I thought of in the moment on the spot. The answers you're giving are, I've thought about this for the last hour, 2 hours, or in some cases 6 or 7 hours, or overnight, and this is my answer. And that gives you a very, very well thought out, very thorough answer. You're given a deeper, stronger response, and I thought that was interesting. I thought that was it was really, really good. So later on, some of the questions became, trying to remember some of the questions. What has your cancer taught you? Oh, one of them was a special place. This is one where I cried. They said we had to come back the next morning, and the question was, when you close your eyes at night, and you think of your favorite place, where do you think of and why? And holy cow, that brought a lot of emotion for me, because I'd never really thought about it. I'd never really thought, I don't walk around thinking of what place in the entire world, out of all my history, it has the most meaning for me. So I went and laid down that night, and I closed my eyes, and I thought, okay, what's my special place? And my grandparents' house in Soda Springs came to me, my dad's parents. That's what came to mind. I'm gonna cry again, because that's where we went for Thanksgiving. That's where we went for Christmas. That's where we went to go hunting. That's where we went to go fishing. That's where we went to go camping. That's where we went to get away from whatever normal life was. That's where we went to relax and de-stress. That's where we went to learn how to play in the woods and learn how to hunt and shoot and fish. That's where we went. And so that has a lot of meaning for me. It has a lot more meaning than I realized, and I got to talk about it for a lot longer than I'm talking here. I really got to dive into why it was what came to mind when I thought of a special place. And I got to listen to the stories of 9 other guys and what their special place is and why and what was important. And that plays into how I think about things and how I think about my situation and my cancer. And I'll tell you. And then I'm jumping ahead a little. I went to a support group leader conference in Atlanta, and at that, one of the first things somebody said was that support groups save lives. And that's what this retreat was a support group. It was a mini one-off 3-day support group, and it's going to be etched in my memory forever. And the Atlanta trip, we talked about why monthly meetings or weekly meetings or bi-weekly meetings are so important for so many men. And so many people got up and shared their stories about how they were lost, about how they had given up, about how they didn't know where to go. They didn't know what questions to ask, and they didn't know anybody they could ask to find out what questions they could ask. And holy crap, support groups save lives. If you're not already going to attending a support group, and there's not one near you, look up thereluctantbrotherhood.org. Okay, it's a virtual online support group, meets every Wednesday night, and they welcome everybody. It is. I've been a few times, and it's been fantastic. What a fantastic supportive group. And I've learned something. This is what's important. I've learned something every time I went, every time I attended. So that's what I want to bring to my support group that I'm starting up, is I want everybody to walk away learning something every time. I want, kind of like these videos, I want to share what I've learned, because this may be something you needed to know, something you walk away with now knowing that you didn't know before. Yeah, I think that's important. And yeah, so let's get back on track to the retreat. So yeah, that first night, we didn't even learn any fly fishing stuff that first night. It was courageous conversation, registration, courageous check-in, courageous conversation, social hour, have dinner, courageous conversation, and then we got to just muck about for a little bit, and which was awesome. We got to just we got to talk to each other. We got to go play some cornhole. We got to and I'm tired. I get a lot of sleep. I take the melatonin and the magnesium at night so I can sleep well, because rest is so important for rebuilding your body. And so I was out. I was in bed by 8:30 and out by 9, and I slept pretty good. So we got up the next morning, and we had breakfast, had coffee, had breakfast, and then met for a courageous conversation. And that was a really good one. I wish I could remember the question on that one. We learned a lot about each other and about ourselves. And then they're like, so, yeah, let's go fishing. I'm like, we haven't learned, I don't know how to fly fish yet. And we went down out behind the lodge, and they had some poles. They got the poles rigged for us. So here's what I like about this. You're not on your own. They have buddies that attend that were previous attendees. So you only ever get one instance where you can go. You can only attend as an attendee once. And then after that, you can go again, but you have to go as a buddy where you help somebody else. So we had 5 or 6 buddies helping with the 10 attendees. And of the 5 or 6 buddies, one guy has been doing this for over 20 years. Another guy, like 10-ish years. But most of the buddies were attendees at the same retreat last year. And they loved it so much that they wanted to go help the next year worth of guys. And I'm going to do something similar. I'm not going to be able to go to the next retreat, but I think I'm going to donate some stuff, because we all got something from this. They gave us little fly boxes with some flies that were hand tied by some troubled youth that were in another program, and one of the guys is the leader of that program. And yeah, it was really good. All right, I feel like I'm starting to wander and babble a little bit. So what they did is they got the poles rigged for us. The buddies rigged the poles. We don't have to do very much. The buddies are there to help us. They rigged the poles. Then one of the facilitator got up and showed us how to cast, and that was it. We got a little bit of time to cast, and then we got in drift boats, and we got on the water, and we cast and caught fish. I lost count. It was ridiculous how many fish we got. And it was all smallmouth bass, catch and release. It was really fun. Really, really fun. And yeah. But we went fishing that Monday morning. We broke for lunch. We had a courageous conversation. Then we got the next question for the next one. We got back out on the water. We fished till dinner. Had dinner, had another courageous conversation, and then the next morning, breakfast, courageous conversation, and then went fishing again, and then we met for another courageous conversation. But the last courageous conversation was different. The last one was the buddies and the facilitators sharing with us, and it was we did a thing called the Strength Circle, and wow, it was so amazing. So one of the buddy that I was paired up with in the boat, he rowed the boat for us, so we didn't have to row the boat. All I had to do was sit there and fish. It was freaking amazing. And if we hadn't ran into any trouble, he'd help unsnag us. He'd untangle your line. He'd tie your fly on for you if you wanted to. He'd take care of whatever you needed. And because he's, as a volunteer, that's what they're there to do. They are there to help. And it was amazing. So, yeah. What a good experience. If you haven't gone and checked it out already, check out realrecovery.org and keep checking it out, because I don't know when the next year's retreats are going to show up, but sometime, hopefully by early spring, they'll be out. It'll be posted on the website, and you'll be able to sign up. And once you do it, consider going as a buddy the next year. All right? All right. I'm starting to get out close to work, so I probably need to think about not stopping the recording here soon. And I've been babbling too much. But I wanted to give you a little heads up on the retreat before while I'm editing the video. I don't know how long this is going to take me, so it might be a week or two before you get the videos. And it's probably going to be garbage, but we'll try it. All right? Hey, I want to say thank you, and I love you all.